I never really believed that this would happen in my lifetime.
I think that I had been watching the news and had heard some rumblings about a virus that had popped up in China.
I didn't really think much of it.
I thought, okay, maybe it's just like the flu, like it's just going to be another round of something, right? It doesn't affect children, so it's not a big deal.
We'd see news stories from other countries on how devastated they were. And we wondered when it was going to hit us and how it was going to affect us.
Everyone was talking about it at school. Even on TikTok.
I remember when they announced South by Southwest being canceled, I was blown away. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. When STAR was canceled, this is real.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Today, I am officially declaring a national emergency.
I mean, we're looking at right now 8 weeks for what the rest of this school year looks like. And 8 weeks is kind of something we need to deal with. But correctly enough, this may impact the summer. We don't know all these answers yet.
While spring break started and we weren't in our buildings, that break didn't happen for so many of our Leander ISD team who worked around the clock for 9 days. These heroes created a plan for teachers and families to support learning, both academic and emotional, for at least 2 weeks without our classrooms.
The teachers were talking like, there's no way they're going to cancel school. Like, school never gets canceled.
We have a small window of opportunity in which to flatten the spike of infection by taking aggressive steps right now.
The team of doctors advising us have determined that it would be unsafe to allow students together in schools for the foreseeable future.
I began to receive texts and people said, did I hear right?
We were all, I think, stunned, shocked. I think in our heads we knew it was coming.
We launched Remind, the premium version of Remind, which is a tool for classroom communication in 4 days and integrating it and getting it unraveled into parents. So I'm incredibly proud on how we empowered teachers, kept two-way communication going, and we set the tone.
Like, we didn't know what to expect, and then the day one they're like, this is what it's going to look like, but here's all the resources. So they kind of started it for us, and that was amazing until we could find like what we liked. And then they still provided us with things, but we could plug in our own things. So we started more gradual, and then we slowly built in. We had a class Zoom first.
I think what really helped out in that whole situation was our teacher, Ms. Johnson, we knew wanted to do Zoom calls with the students and with the kids. And it was very clear the first time that happened, that was a big hit.
I mean, and there was some beautiful moments too, where just learning through a walk in the park and being able to, showcase learning in ways that you couldn't do in a traditional classroom, and alongside your parents. I mean, that was pretty cool.
So being part of your district education foundation team, this pandemic really struck home for us because traditionally we work and we support teachers and students within the classroom, and we weren't in the classrooms, right? We moved to distance learning. So the best advice that we received was finding a local nonprofit partner who already helped out with helping families from a financial standpoint.
LEEF donated $10,000 to Hill Country Community Ministries to generate an emergency fund to help those families of Leander ISD. And we're not talking just our student families, but it was our staff, the employees, and the teachers. And so over the course of the last couple months, we have received 82 applications. These families need help. They need to keep their lights on. They need to keep the water running. They need to stay in their homes, help with rent. We've had to help with a little bit of shelter and stuff. Of those 82 applications, 52 checks have been cut to help these families. We only have about $1,700 left of this grant, but because we've started talking about it, because we're talking to the community about it, because of the support and because of the huge need, we just received a little over a couple weeks ago an additional $2,000 to help with this program. I wanted to say thank you all so much because of LEEF, because of the hard work Leander ISD is doing, we've again been able to help these families.
So I'm up at school cleaning out for the last time before summer. So this TikTok's really for those who are my students. So if you're not my students, keep scrolling. And if you are, welcome to my classroom. So my board has stayed the same since the last time we left. Just all the things we learn, all of y'all's clips and where you were.
I had everything on the board that we did, the date. So it was walking into something that was frozen in time. You make your classroom your second home for a reason, because you are there so much and there's so much love in that physical space between your students, your colleagues, the subjects you're teaching, and it felt so frozen. You know, had that moment of looking at all the desks and realizing, like, you know, the school year is ending the way that it is, and it may not be the same next year. And just sitting there imagining all your kids' faces and just, you know, telling an empty classroom, like, I love you all, class is dismissed. Like, it's just a weird feeling. And I miss it a lot. And I can't wait to go back and be a better teacher. So yeah.
I don't think there were any ramifications that I was most concerned about other than the loss of opportunity for students.
Of all the sad words of tongue and pen, there's no sadder words than these, what might have been. We just want to tell you how proud we are of you and your sacrifice.
Miss your smile. I love you and I hope you do so well.
I've been so proud to be in a community and to be in a district that found ways to celebrate kids at the end of the year in some normal ways, even though it was anything but.
Can I tell you that parades have been one of my favorite things?
We miss you so much!
We did a couple of things to bring us back to campus, and one of them was a kindergarten parade. And that was so much fun.
And it was quick. It was a drive-through thing. It wasn't anything meant to be huge, you know, but it meant the world, I think, to us parents and to the kiddos.
I wasn't sure if Mason would be doing anything to celebrate those 5th grade graduates, so I jumped on the bandwagon and organized a graduation parade for Damien, which was really cool.
It was awesome, and then a bunch of friends came. It was cool. My favorite memory about closing out the school year was going to my virtual theater banquet. It was fun because we laughed a lot and gave out silly and serious awards, and it was just good to see everyone again.
Congratulations, seniors!
This global pandemic is a catalyst for change. It is going to allow us to transform public education and the way that we live our lives. We must take this opportunity to stop doing things that we know are wrong and to start doing things that we know will prepare our students for their future, a future in a rapidly changing world where flexibility, adaptability, and creativity are going to become key skills for them to survive. This is our moment, and we must seize it.
Good morning, Leander ISD. You know, when Dr. Gehring first took the helm of Leander, he talked about heroic educators. I wasn't really sure what he meant by that until now. With a global pandemic and COVID-19 upending all of our lives, everywhere that we look throughout this district, we see shining examples of heroic educators. From our teachers, who have found new and innovative ways to stay connected to our children, to our food service workers, who put themselves in harm's way each and every day to make sure that our children are fed, to our amazing nurses who not only care for the children of our district, but have answered a call at Williamson County to be part of a larger community response to this pandemic. Everywhere that we look throughout this community, we see heroic educators.
Staff, you are awesome, and I would like to thank you for all the numerous ways you're providing support to our community. Students, I would like to say I admire you. You are persevering. The end of this school year will look different, but I see innovative ways our community is coming together to celebrate monumental moments. My hope is that the district keeps these 3 things as we move forward toward a new normal. The emphasis on relationships, the importance of being better together as a community, and innovative thinking, where a situation does not define us, but how we respond is truly transformational and leads the way to a brighter future.
Thank you, teachers, admin, and staff for answering the call of remote learning, and we appreciate all that you're doing to make sure every student is staying engaged. Students, we know these are difficult circumstances to understand and get through, but we appreciate you as well staying engaged with your teachers. Seniors, we know you have the hardest time in this process, and we just want to let you know that we love you so much and we're praying for you every day.
This is unlike anything we have ever experienced, and everybody watching has been impacted in some way. Teachers and staff, we know you did not have a lot of time to prepare or train for this transition, but you stepped up to make life as normal as possible for the kids, and we just wanted to thank you. The amount of work that the public doesn't see is truly remarkable, and you all did it while working remotely and social distancing. Students, we are proud of how you transitioned to online learning, and parents, you are truly partners in education. It has been great to see our community come together. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in person.
One of my favorite lines from the musical Hamilton is "The world turned upside down." And that is exactly what it feels like right now, especially to our students and teachers. I want to give a special thank you to our teachers and all district staff. Thank you for working tirelessly for weeks now to ensure that our students have access to technology, to online content, access to caring instructors that can guide our students through this uncharted territory. A big thank you to all of our parents. Thank you for your open and honest feedback about what is working and what's not working. Many of us are juggling our regular work responsibilities and still supporting our students in online learning. This is not an easy task. Some of us might be better at it than others, but we should not expect perfection. What we should expect is support and collaboration from each other. Finally, I'd like to give a huge, monumental, giant thank you to our students. Students, you are amazing. You are creative. You are strong. You are resilient. You are an inspiration. Thank you.
In Leander ISD, we say we are leading to a bright future. While there are lots of questions about today, more than ever, we all need to be thinking ahead, seeing around corners, and working together to ensure learning and development are maximized for every student. As a school board, we're working really hard to consider the unique needs and concerns of every student, every parent, and every employee. The world has changed for a time, and we must also change in many ways in order to effectively lead our community through these challenging days. The light and strength of our example will demonstrate how Leander ISD is in fact leading to a bright future.
In our wildest dreams, we could have never planned for a pandemic, and the teachers' response to this has been nothing short of heroic. They have shown love and care for their students. They have reached out to all of their students, and there's not enough thanks we can give them. And to the LISD staff behind the scenes, preparing meals for our students, making sure our kids have technology. We could have never progressed the way we have in online learning without you. So my heartfelt thanks to all of you guys and for all the work you're doing. Again, could have never done this without you. We had no plans for something like this to happen. I think in order to go on, we have to stick together. We're better together. I believe that phrase has been said over and over again, but it is true. We are better together. We have to believe that one day we're going to get to the new normal. And I do believe that. I believe we'll be together again soon. And how that looks for the next year, we're thinking about it, and we're planning, and we're coming up with all kinds of scenarios. But I do want to say, if we haven't met your need, or if there's something you need from us, please reach out to us, whether it's services in mental health, whether it's tools, technology. We really want to service our students and our families in our district. So thank you guys. Stay safe. We'll be together soon.
Take care, Leander ISD family. Be safe and well. And I look forward to seeing y'all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
In these uncertain times, our chambers have been uniquely aware of the heightened concerns and struggles surrounding businesses in our community. While we as a community are faced with new and unprecedented challenges, we assure you that we remain undeterred in our mission to support each and every one of you. We've returned to our offices and we're practicing social distancing, but not social disconnection. In the coming days and weeks, we are dedicated to connecting with you to communicate new information, share upcoming opportunities to connect, and most importantly, to offer hope. We are continuing to reach out to all of our members to learn how we can continue to help and provide support. We know firsthand that acts of kindness, as well as unwavering hope and positive attitude, can brighten the darkest outlook. As has always been the case, the dedication and support of you, our members, is a fountain of inspiration. Our largest fundraising events for all of our chambers are yet to come. We are closely monitoring all updates and CDC guidelines to ensure the safety and best possible experience for our members and attendees, and we will communicate those very soon. In the meantime, we ask that you take care of yourself, your family, and your community, and that today you enjoy our virtual State of the District. Most importantly, we ask that you stay strong.
Hello, and welcome to the Leander Independent School District State of the District presented by Smile Doctors Braces. This year's event is co-hosted by the Cedar Park Chamber of Commerce, Leander Chamber of Commerce, Leander Educational Excellence Foundation, and the West Austin Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank each of you for attending this virtually. As you know, we are trying to get back to better, and this is a great way to show that we are walking down that path. It is important for us to hear from LISD on how they are working through some of the district's ideas to get back to their business of educating tomorrow's workforce. We're excited to hear from Dr. Gearing and look forward to a wonderful State of the District.
Supporting our local schools and students has always been a priority for West Austin businesses. So on their behalf, thank you for joining us today for LEEF's virtual presentation of Leander ISD's State of the District. Stay safe.
From all of us at Toyota of Cedar Park,
you have all of our respect.
And all of our support.
For all that you do.
To prepare the next generation.
Just like you did for me. For me.
And for us.
Hi, this is Dr. Santos from Smile Doctors, and this is one of my favorite quotes from C.S. Lewis. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending.
Good morning, Leander ISD. Welcome to our virtual State of the District. We're so excited to be here, but we're so sad that we can't be in person. But the storytelling is going to continue. We know that in Leander ISD, bringing together 42,000 students, over 5,000 employees, and all of the parents, partner organizations that make schools and make education work for Cedar Park, West Austin, Leander, and all of the little communities in between, make Leander ISD great. Our motto is One LISD, and that's what the State of the District is truly about. We're so grateful and thankful to our Chambers of Commerce, Cedar Park Chamber, Leander Chamber, West Austin Chamber, Smile Doctors for sponsoring, and our Leander ISD Educational Excellence Foundation, LEEF, for helping us to put on this event. I'm live here, socially distanced, not wearing my mask because I got my boss, Superintendent Dr. Bruce Gearing, over there. I got Garrett helping us out with our production, and that's how we're able to make this work and continue to be safe. Normally, I'd also be asking you if we were in person for a round of applause to Olivia, our amazing Leander High School student who did our national anthem. So let's keep that going, even though we're not together. Run the applause track. Well, we didn't have an applause track. That was something we could have done. But nonetheless, we're so excited to be able to bring this program, bring this storytelling to you all. We got to show you a little bit about our COVID response, as we know that the last 3 months and even this event haven't been what they normally are. We hope that you got to hear some of that story, got some of the feels, got some of that experience from our teachers and hearing it from them. We're producing a larger video. We have over 14 hours of footage and interviews that we've been collecting. So in early July, we'll be releasing a longer video to just tell the story of the heroism of our teachers, our educators in our schools in response to COVID-19. So please look for that. At the end of this presentation, we're going to have a panel discussion. So if you have questions, we have Krista Carleen, who's our Executive Director for Pathways and Innovation. We have our CFO, Elaine Cogburn, Assistant Superintendent John Graham, Chief Academic Officer Dr. Matt Bentz, and then Bruce and I for a panel discussion at the end. We'll be taking those questions from Facebook, so please feel free to submit those in here. But the main event, the main story is Bruce Gearing, our superintendent, telling the story of his first year in Leander ISD and the successes of what we've had. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Bruce, who's going to be over there.
Hello, Leander ISD. It is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to be here today presenting my first State of the District for Leander ISD. I wish to start by thanking every member of the Leander ISD family for making this possible. A.J. Giuliani says it best. Our job is not to prepare students for something. Our job is to help students prepare themselves for anything. Leander ISD is a premier destination district. Welcome to our State of the District presentation 2020. Leander ISD is propelled forward by the vision and management oversight of our incredible Board of Trustees. When I think about the board, two things immediately come to mind. First, their selfless dedication to our students, our staff, and the LISD community. And second, how smart, experienced, and quick learners they are, passionate about children in LISD. I'd like to introduce each of them to you very briefly. Our board president, Trish Bodie, has been on the board since May of 2015. She currently serves as the president, but has also served as the secretary of the board. She has two children in Leander ISD, one of whom is a graduate of 2020. Our vice president, Aaron Johnson, has served on the board since May of 2011. He's also served as the president of the Board of Trustees. He has 4 children in Leander ISD, one of whom is also a graduate of the class of 2020. Grace Barber Jordan has been on the board since May of 2001. She has served as the secretary, the vice president, and the president of the board, and is also a TASB Master Trustee. Her children have all graduated from Leander ISD. Dr. Gloria Gonzalez Dolakia has served on the board since November of 2018. She has 3 students in LISD, one of whom is also a proud graduate of the class of 2020. Pam Wagner has served on the board since 2002, serving until 2008, and then again from May of 2010 until the present time. She has served as Vice President and President of the board, and is also a TASB Master Trustee. Her 3 children all graduated from Leander ISD. First Sergeant Jim McKay has served on the board since November of 2016. He has 4 children, 2 of whom are graduates of Leander ISD. Alexis Grimes has served on the board since November of 2018. She has 2 children in Leander ISD, one of whom is a proud graduate. When I did the math, I calculated that our board has dedicated an incredible 55.5 years of service to our community, and I want to thank them for this incredible volunteer service to the children of Leander ISD. The board has approved district goals for Leander ISD, and what I love about these goals is that they are very closely aligned to the 7 pillars of community-based accountability, which we'll talk about a little later in this presentation. The district goals can be divided into 4 distinct categories in my mind. The first is about our learners, our students. Those encompass the first 4 goals that the board has set: to maximize academic growth, prepare each student for college and career success, inspire the whole child, and engage every student in relevant learning. The second is, of course, about our life changes and making sure that we have a world-class workforce totally focused on our student achievement. We also have to manage our district resources effectively, which comes down to our operations, our fiscal management, and making sure that every individual in the system has what they need to meet these goals. And of course, lastly, we have to communicate effectively with our community, with our internal stakeholders, and with our external stakeholders. And the most important part of that, of course, is building strong, positive relationships. As #OneLISD, we have to accomplish these goals together. And that begs the question, who are we? Well, we're a fast-growth suburban district in Central Texas with over 42,000 students expected in our district next year. We are a very diverse district with over 79 languages spoken throughout our student population, and we spread across 44 individual schools in 200 square miles. Our LISD family is also economically diverse, and we serve over 8,000 students on free and reduced lunch. Next year, we'll add almost 1,350 students to our family from all over the nation. And we'll graduate close to 3,000 seniors in July and send them out into the world to become life changers themselves. We're incredibly proud of the over 5,000 employees that work diligently day in, day out to make sure that our students can maximize their potential. Our almost 3,000 teachers work around the clock to provide learning opportunities that connect students to their interests and passions. Economically, we're one of the largest employers in town, adding over 140 new jobs in 2019-20. While 55% of our heroic educators in Leander ISD are certified teachers directly touching students in the classroom, it takes an army of other support personnel to make the magic happen in our district. It is the synergy of these folks working together that makes our district the great place that it is and provides the excellent level of education that our community has come to expect. Even with the uncertainty produced by our current situation and COVID-19, data indicates that the district will continue to grow over time. While the numbers on this slide are pre-COVID predictors, we do predict that the district will continue to grow at a significant rate over the next several years. We will be working closely with multiple stakeholders in the near future to design a long-range facilities plan for the district for the next 10 years. This plan will be based on certain realities in the district, and you can see some of those on this slide. The demographic predictions show that 10 new schools will be needed in the next 10 years, and that 89% of our new student growth is coming from new homes in the boundaries of the district. Those projected housing occupancies are somewhere north of 45,000 units in the next 10-year span. Of course, these new developments are drawing older students to the district because of their larger, higher-priced homes, which excludes younger families often. Our district objectives in this area include providing high-quality instructional facilities, while at the same time providing our students and their families choice. We have to also do this while being great stewards of taxpayer dollars. So we know the students are coming. The first 4 goals for Leander ISD lay the foundation for student success. Let's go and look at some of the indicators that point to that success. SAT and ACT scores are important for our students as they progress to higher education. As you can see, Leander ISD far outperforms both the state and the nation on these indicators. Averages can be deceiving, however, and it's important to point out that we have students who achieve very highly on these tests all the way to perfect scores in some cases. Our students far outperform state averages on state accountability standards too. While this year's graduation ceremony will be a little different, our goal is to graduate every single student who comes through our system. But success runs much deeper than that. Our job is to inspire the whole child, and our LISD students demonstrate this success on a daily basis. From marching band state champions to cheer success, from cross-country individual competition success to state champions in wrestling, our students have what it takes to compete at the state and national level. We have some of the best and brightest entrepreneurship students in our Incubator EDU program. Our NJROTC program, quite simply, is the best in Texas. And our students continue to excel in broadcasting, yearbook, and a host of other activities that connect students to their interests and passions. If success is about more than just numbers, then how do we remain accountable to our community for the success of our school district? Well, these are the exact questions that we asked ourselves and our community during our Community Accountability Update conversations this spring. We really wanted to know, what student learning experiences does our community value, and how will we measure this success? Through a series of community feedback meetings in our feeder patterns held at each of our 6 high schools over a period of several weeks, we prompted the community to answer the question, what are the most important things our schools should do for each and every student in LISD? With more than 4,000 participants in person and online through Thought Exchange, we generated a host of different thoughts and ideas from all 6 feeder patterns. And the beauty of the Thought Exchange tool is everybody had the opportunity to view those thoughts and then to rate them to give us some idea about what themes would emerge to answer these critical questions. Our analysis sorted all of these thoughts into 5 main themes: social emotional learning, new or improved programs, grades or class rank, individualized learning, and safety. After almost 65,000 ratings of these thoughts, you can see that the same 5 themes continue to be very important to all of our community as they try to discern what is it that we should be doing for all students in Leander ISD. It's important when examining this type of qualitative data to make sure to look at the data in lots of different ways. This word bubble is one way that Thought Exchange helps us to visualize what exactly our community is pointing toward. You can see that our community wants our students to be challenged, to be well prepared for their future, to connect to their passions, and for us to provide a high quality education. We also know that each feeder pattern is unique, that all of our communities are slightly different, and that their needs are slightly different. And so we examined the themes by feeder pattern to make sure that we were meeting the needs of each of our communities. And you can see from this complicated looking graph that things are quite different in the 6 feeder patterns. So let's go take a closer look at that. This is perhaps my favorite slide of this whole deck, because it really points out the uniqueness of our feeder patterns and the needs that they have. We look forward to working closely with each of our feeder patterns to understand these more carefully and to start to develop plans to meet the needs of our children. Our community conversations were not restricted to our feeder patterns this spring. We also held several focus groups and symposia for our special education parents so that we could better understand their needs and the needs of their children. We used an outside consultant called Copia Consulting for this work. Our job was to find areas of improvement and develop a plan to meet those needs. The report has been released to the public and includes 7 areas for us to focus improvement: parent relationships, improved communication, training for general ed teachers for special education needs, creating materials about services that we offer, our pre-ARD meeting process, redesigning the actual ARD process itself, and creating a parent group to help us to continue to improve in our services to this population. Our diverse population deserves equitable treatment. While we have been having equity and diversity conversations internally in the district for some time, we knew that it was time to reach out to our community and listen to their stories on these issues. We held 2 town hall meetings in March, facilitated by outsiders, who would help us to have these crucial conversations on race, equity, and diversity. We put out a diversity survey and really strove to understand and listen to what the community was saying to us. The results of this initial work will be presented to the Board of Trustees this Thursday. I urge you to understand that this is the beginning of a conversation and not the end, that we have a long way to go in order to make sure that Leander ISD is inclusive and thoughtful about how it addresses the issues of equity and diversity. One of the remaining questions, however, is what will happen next in these uncertain times. We've put together 2 task forces, one for social distancing and one for virtual learning, in order to make sure that the continuum of services we offer in the fall meets the needs of each and every student. We are planning to be flexible and adaptable enough that we can continue to offer the level of excellence that our community expects. The Leander ISD State of the District presentation would not be possible without our sponsors, and so we want to give a special thank you to Smile Doctors. Additional thanks go to Bartlett Cock, Cedar Park Regional Medical Center, American Constructors, Toyota of Cedar Park, Piper Sandler, Ranger Excavating, Pfluger Architects, and LifeTouch. Thank you for your incredible support of Leander ISD. Together we can achieve success for each and every student in our care.
Thank you so much, Bruce, for delivering that important and powerful message about the year of the work, the learning that has happened in Leander ISD these past 12 months. We're so grateful to all of our staff and teachers and students for being a part of that. We're going to kick it into panel, so please continue to submit questions. We're going to try to answer as many as we can. We figured if we could be online in a two-way platform, let's make it two-way. Let's be accessible, answer the questions of our business community, our partners, our community members, our teachers, students, anybody who's watching. I'd like to take a minute to introduce our panel, just so you know who we have here to answer questions. We have Assistant Superintendent John Graham joining us. John, wave to the folks at home. We also have our Assistant Superintendent for Pathways and Innovation, Krista Carleen.
Good morning.
We have our Chief Financial Officer, Elaine Cogburn. And joining us shortly, we'll have our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Matt Bentz, joining us. And we're going to go ahead and kick it into some question time. And I'm going to start, because he just loves talking so much, is John Graham. Because John Graham, as the Assistant Superintendent, is overseeing the safety programs, student support, and so many of those extra programs that students take advantage of in arts, athletics, and after school, and services and everything in between. John basically is running everything, and so he gets to answer most of the questions. And John, the first question is about what is fall going to look like? We know that we have committees that are working towards planning for fall. We know there's a lot to be unknown. We know that we are going to have an announcement on June 18th and then in July as well, as we gear up for fall planning. But what would you like to share with people who are just sitting at home wondering what school's going to look like in August 2020?
Thank you for giving me the easiest question to start with, Corey. I wished I knew exactly what school's going to look like, but I do know school will start in August. We are working diligently to have a plan in place where students can learn at the level that our parents and our students expect and our teachers expect, but also in a safe and healthy way. What that may mean is students returning back into our classrooms, but also students returning back to virtual learning. It may be a mixture, but we are working diligently to have a plan where come August, our students are able to learn at the level that they left off at in March. And it may look different with inside our buildings or on our buses, but we are working diligently to follow all the state's rules and health and CDC guidelines, and we are actively creating plans, but we anticipate school starting in August. It just may look differently, but the expectation for learning will not change. It will be at the highest level.
And John, there's questions about who's a part of the planning, who's a part of the discussion and the collaboration, specifically about teachers. Can you share on how we're collecting feedback, engaging with people, and making sure that there's a focus on how we deliver instruction and learning, and how we know that if we're not supporting teachers, learning can't happen. So what can you say about the voices who are a part of the planning for August 2020?
So as Dr. Gehring mentioned in his State of the District address, we have two committees that have been formed. The committees are made up of district and campus administrators, but we are seeking out the voices of our instructional coaches, our assistant principals, our deans. We are getting feedback from our community through Thought Exchange. We have a district-wide improvement committee meeting this evening that will be receiving feedback. Our principals have been tasked with getting feedback from all stakeholders. Our teaching and learning staff, which it consists of experts in the different content areas, are getting feedback from teachers and instructional coaches. Our plan is to have a very robust professional development plan when teachers return to work, so that they are fully prepared for what will be expected for learning in the fall semester. But there is many ways that we are trying to get feedback from all stakeholders, and if you have any information that you would like to share, please reach out to your principals, reach out to us through Let's Talk. We are taking all information and considering all information. We are looking at information from across all states and different entities in our own state. So we are not doing this alone. We know we can't do this alone. Feedback is important to us, and input from all stakeholders is important.
Thank you, John, for sharing that important work. And again, we'll continue to communicate out with our community as decisions are made. A great next point to check in. We have a school board meeting on Thursday where this will be an agenda item. Next week is when we plan on presenting a more robust amount of information as to what the fall could look like and what the work and planning has been thus far. So please continue to follow the news on leanderisd.org, email, and our social media channels. We know that for so many of us, our hearts and minds are in the conversations and the advocacy around our Black community, around racism. We released a statement around racism after the tragic death of George Floyd and so many members of the Black community in the nation. And we know we've been doing work around equity and diversity for the last year and a half. So this question is for Krista Carleen. She's a member of our Diversity and Equity Task Force. She's going to be presenting a report from some town halls and a survey we did in February and March at tomorrow's school board meeting. Krista, what would you like to share with the viewers at home about the Equity and Diversity Committee, about tomorrow's report? And there's questions about what's next, about will we have another town hall meeting? What are the next steps for Leander ISD and our continuous improvement to stamp out racism and create equity for all?
Thanks, Corey. So our immediate next step will be to present the report to the committee at the board meeting tomorrow, and then we will plan out some additional steps from there. I will say we've had our equity task force for about 2 years here, and the members of that task force and their passion for this work makes me so very proud to work in this district. We know we have a lot of work to still do. We know we need to expand that task force, and we need to reach out to our community members and include more people, not only that are in the district, but also community members that may not be directly in our district as well. And so our first step will be to release that report and to have our discussions, because that is the first time we will have talked publicly about what some of the findings are. And then our next step will to be able to come back with some additional action steps throughout the year. Our cabinet has also been discussing what are the next steps that we can do as a leadership team to help with equity and diversity in our district, and how do we help be the leaders that we know our students and families deserve.
Thank you, Krista, for sharing that. We have Dr. Bentz on the line now, and Dr. Bentz, there's a lot of questions about learning, about virtual learning, about parent and student and family choice going into the fall. What can you share with our families about our new initiative, or our initiative for revamped virtual and remote learning, or our empowered virtual learning for families who are going to be looking for that as an option as we enter August?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. As we look to the fall, and as we make preparations for how we can open up our schools and how we can get kids into our facilities, one of the things we also know is that we will still have students and families out there that are wrestling with challenges like illnesses, health vulnerabilities in the family, a discomfort or fear of going back out into a situation where there are a lot of human beings mixing in one place. So we know we need to. It is vital that we continue to offer an online option for our families. We also know that while our teachers and our people did amazing work creating an emergency remote learning environment to finish out the spring, as we move into this fall, our virtual environment needs to be very robust, and it needs to meet some additional quality indicators. As you know, Corey, we did a survey about halfway through the spring and got 11,000 responses from teachers, parents, and students. We just sent out a thought exchange that got thousands of responses as well. And what we know about what we're calling virtual empowered learning for the fall is that people want several components to really be enriched and added to this virtual learning experience. Number one, they want to have opportunities to connect with their their peers and with their teachers. So what does that mean? That means we will have what we call synchronous learning. That means there are going to be times when people are logging in to a classroom with their teacher, whether it's on Google Meets or Zoom. There will be opportunities where our students will be in small groups working with the teacher, maybe, for instance, in a reading group or a science lab. You may be you'll get some time with your teacher in an individual conferencing situation. There will also be tutorial hours and office hours for teachers, things like that. The other thing we know is that we need to have consistent digital platforms. So we have invested in Seesaw. It's an incredible digital platform that all of our teachers pre-K through second grade will be using and getting trained on and using in the coming year. And then Google Classroom, we are really going through an initiative to make sure that most of our teachers already have that training, but that all have it and that we are all using it, so that when a student is in our virtual learning environment, that the interface is much more streamlined, that they can log in through Launchpad, that the child will know how to log in and get the information about their classes, accessing their teacher, accessing their assignments, uploading the information, the evidence of learning and things like that, that it will be much more streamlined, so that parents won't be getting 10,000 emails about what needs to happen. Our teachers will still be communicating very thoroughly and using multiple media methods to ensure that our parents are a partner in the learning process. But we know we need to streamline that practice as well. That's a kind of a thumbnail on some of the ways that virtual empowered learning will be different from remote learning that occurred just this last spring. Thanks, Corey.
Dr. Bentz, I'd be remiss, or I would be very disappointed if I didn't ask the question, is that in fact the very hungry caterpillar on your wall behind your left shoulder?
That is. Eric Carle is one of my daughter's favorite authors, and so we have that picture, believe it or not, that's in our dining room. So yes, that is the hungry caterpillar, Corey.
Look, I love the hungry caterpillar. Love Eric Carle. Have a lot of that in our house too. So a big fan, and a shout out to the hungry caterpillar. We have some budget questions, and I know we have our CFO, Elaine Cogburn, here on our panel, specifically about funding and budget and sources as we deal with the economic impact of COVID-19. Elaine, what would you like to share with the folks at home about what our budget looks like with so much uncertainty about economics? And we have a specific question regarding the ESSER grant and just federal grants in general about how we're getting money to continue to operate in schools. All right, well, we're having technical problems with hearing Elaine right now. So I'll go ahead and go to a next question, and it's for Assistant Superintendent Mr. John Graham concerning our most vulnerable populations when it comes to their health, are immunocompromised. What will learning look like for those kids? What are we doing to take care of our most vulnerable students as well as our teachers and staff during this global health crisis?
So that is our biggest concern. One of my responsibilities is safety and health of the district, and making sure that our students and staff are safe and healthy at all times is important. And so we are looking at all measures, how we set up our buildings in a 6-foot manner, what personal protective equipment may be required to ensure that our staff and students are safe. Looking at different products to ensure that our buildings are cleaned and that our students and staff have the resources to thoroughly not only clean the environment that they're in, but also keeping our hands and washed at all times. And so we are looking at it, of course, from a safety component and making sure that we have all the different supplies ready to go. But most importantly, as Dr. Bentz mentioned when he was speaking, giving the opportunity for students to have choice. And that is the most important thing. We know that students may have fear or anxiety entering back to school. What does learning look like for all students? It may look different based on a student's needs. And that's what we're looking at, is trying to develop a system where we are meeting individual students' needs. And if that means that we have to adjust our learning platform, then that's what we're doing. But we also have very clear protocols and guidelines for our staff, working closely with our human resources department. If there is a case of an infected person in our district, having very clear guidelines and measures in place to ensure that we communicate and that we have cleaning measures in place, and that we do certain things so that the people that may have come in contact, we have very clear guidelines to follow. But choice is going to be very important. We know it's going to look different, and it may look different student by student. And that's the most important thing, I think, for people to understand, is we're going to try to do our very best to meet the individual needs of students. And if there is a health situation, then we will set up an environment to help each student safely learn next school year.
Thank you, John, for sharing that. We're having technical difficulties with Elaine. Good thing for all of the viewers at home, if you're interested in our budget, we will be talking in-depthly about it tomorrow at our school board meeting, and next week as well, as we get into June and our deadline to pass. Oh, Elaine's going to pop in over and be able to answer some budget questions real quick. But I'll go ahead and move on while she gets configured and set up. There's a question for Dr. Gearing, and it's about... and I can look over here instead of over here to talk to Dr. Gearing because we're in the same room. What are your biggest concerns, besides restarting school in the fall, that the community can help with?
Thank you, Corey. I will tell you that we need the support of every family in understanding what your situation is. We need to know what's happening in your house, because then we can help you. If we understand what your needs are, then we can make plans around that and meet those needs head on. So the communication is going to become critically important to us as we go into the fall. That communication should come through your campus. Talk to the principal, talk to your teachers, talk to your assistant principals and those who are at the campus ready to help you. Tell us what you need, and we're going to do everything in our power to meet those needs.
Thank you, Dr. Gearing, for sharing that. Elaine, Chief Financial Officer for Leander ISD. I'm going to peek over here and see if she's here. Can we hear you?
I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Elaine, we know that you love talking budget. We know that with so much uncertainty concerning the economic conditions of the state and the nation, that budget and operations are at the hearts and minds, and certainly at the forefront of discussions with our school board this month. What would you like to share about the budget outlook, and specifically about federal funding sources, state funding sources, these grants that are coming out of legislation to help support schools and health and safety in our schools?
Well, just like everybody else is facing a lot of uncertainty with the budget, I feel really good about where we are for the budget for next year. There's been a lot of work put in and a lot of sacrifices by the administrative team to put that together. Still working on the federal funds. We do know that we're getting about $700,000. It's not really additional money. It is offsetting costs that we've already incurred. There are other grant applications coming in July. And so we'll be seeking those for additional support for the district. But we do have challenges, but they're not they're manageable, right? So there's still uncertainty. We've got a good budget. We've got a decent budget for next year. And immediately in the fall, we will start planning for the years beyond that.
Thank you so much, Elaine. And thank you for leading this cause of operating our schools. We know that if we don't have money, we can't take care of people, take care of kids, and we know that it's a tough time with so much uncertainty, as it is for so many. We know that teachers and the people who support students, from counselors to all of our coordinators to librarians, everyone's coming together at the support of students in these most unique and different times. And we just want to thank everybody. Before we share some more stories, I'd like to give Dr. Gearing another chance just to share, next steps, what people can expect. I know we've talked a lot, and we've shared a lot, and we know there's a lot more to know. Bruce, any closing thoughts or final thoughts from you before we share our final videos?
Thank you, Corey. I just want to share that I'm so excited to be a member of the One LISD family. This is an incredible place to be, and I'm excited and hopeful for our future as we move forward. As long as we continue to collaborate strongly together, allow ourselves to fail forward, to make sure that we spread empowerment and ownership for learning down to the lowest levels of the district possible. And as long as we continue our cycles of improvement, we will be successful in the long run. So thank you for your support, for entrusting us with your most precious resource. We look forward to the year ahead.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you to all of our viewers at home. Thank you to Smile Doctors, LEEF, Cedar Park Chamber, Leander Chamber, West Austin Chamber. We have some amazing stories still left to tell. We have stories from LEEF, and we have some highlights from our student voice for the year. It has been a critical component of our storytelling efforts this year to capture student voice, student thoughts, and shaping student experience with that. So we'd love for you to stay and watch some of our kids. You're going to get put back into a classroom in places that you haven't been in a while, and we really think it's probably the most important of the show, and that's why it's our grand finale. So we're going to go ahead and roll those videos, and thank you for those who submitted questions. You can continue to submit them here on Facebook, and we'll try to answer on Facebook with your comments. And you can always get answers to information at leanderisd.org, support.leanderisd.org. Thank you.
Thank you to the district leadership team for that insightful Q&A session. We hope that you've enjoyed spending your morning with us, learning about our incredible district led by Dr. Gearing. We want to thank the Cedar Park, Leander, and West Austin Chambers of Commerce for co-hosting this event with LEEF to bring our communities together virtually. In 2019, our guests and sponsors were able to provide a $5,000 LEEF grant award. This year's sponsors will provide over $9,000 directly into the classrooms. We hope that you enjoy this Grant Impact video and join us next year to see how your commitment to Leander ISD has enhanced the learning environment for our students and staff. Thank you to our 2019 State of the District guests and sponsors for providing this $5,000 LEEF Grant Award in support of Leander ISD students and staff.
I'm Patricia Brown and I'm with Larkspur Elementary. I wrote a grant this past year for social and emotional learning, as well as resources for our teachers in the classroom to extend Second Step, and sensory materials for our students. So we were able to purchase over 100 books for teacher and student usage, and then we purchased a couple learning games to build emotional intelligence and conflict resolution skills. And then we were also able to purchase a bunch of sensory materials to use in our neighborhoods and cool down spaces, including a couple tents. So that's just one of them, kind of put away for now. We also purchased a large bean bag for our sensory room, also for cool downs. And we were able to purchase Theraputty and Play-Doh, as well as sensory movement pathways for the hallways. So that way, not only do we have cool down spaces, but we also have activity kind of warm up spaces for our kids. All of the teachers have really enjoyed getting to use all of these extra things that doesn't come with Second Step to extend our learning and social and emotional needs for our kids. So thank you so much for supporting us in our first year.
The YMCA makes learning fun and interactive. For example, we got to try out various household utensils and tools and use them as different types of bird beaks. We also got to test the pH level of the lake water. I hope future classes of 5th grade will get to experience the YMCA like I did.
Howdy everyone, I'm Garrett Powell from Beeline Navigation. Over the course of our time in Incubator, we met numerous mentors that taught us invaluable professional skills that we will all use in our careers moving forward. In particular, my team would like to highlight our mentor Bruno Rodriguez. Bruno is a Googler who is specifically involved with the Google Cloud platform, and for a tech company like us, that is awesome. We are leaps and bounds ahead of where we would have been otherwise. Bruno always had resources and advice for us, and it seemed like he supported us when no one else did. So as we go off into our own independent universities, we just want to say thank you, Bruno, for steering us in the right direction. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Natasha Frederick, and I am a Leander High School senior. I will be graduating this year, and I would like to talk to you guys today about a mentor that has really influenced my life throughout my high school career. Now, this person is a Miss Emily Vera. She works at Leander High School in the ag department. Throughout being in class with her and then getting close with her, I ended up joining FFA and being more involved in FFA, partly because I want to, partly because she volunteered me. Either way, I had a blast, and she really opened my eyes to like all the opportunities that are out there, especially in FFA, and those among many other things, including her horrendous but adorable puns that she loves to tell, really and truly make her one of a kind. So this video is dedicated to Miss Farah. I love her, and I know you guys will too.
All right, tell me about Mrs. Simpson.
Let me tell you something. I think that a girl principal is more powerful than a boy.
She takes pride in her position, and she like makes it known that she's like happy to be here and she's proud of what we're doing like in the school. And I think it's really cool.
Leander ISD is enormous, and there's lots of students with different conflicts that they're facing, not only in their programs but individually. And so having that understanding of there's a lot of problems that are always happening within the district. There's never going to be a time where everything is perfect, is something that's very valuable to have. And I'm very thankful that I'm a part of a district that is very open to that and knowing that there are a lot of faults. But there's also a lot of accomplishments out of Leander ISD, which is something to be very proud of. So that's what I'm thankful for.
Just coming off of like a really competitive like band season in the fall specifically, with like a lot of structure and like organization, with like after school rehearsals multiple times a week, to basically having to do it all on our own at home remotely through all the assignments that we have, as well as like trying to keep up with our music. I guess in the band world specifically has been a little bit difficult just because there's not that much structure that we would have seen in the fall. So just the independence aspect of it's been pretty difficult to kind of adjust to.
I think something that's pretty difficult so far is that, so I'm involved in a lot of clubs, and so we've been preparing all year for certain competitions and stuff like that. So with the cancellation of a lot of these, a lot of our clubs do have Zoom meetings where we catch up, but it's not really the same. There's a lot of different situations that we don't know how to address because we don't have enough information. And because most of us in the clubs are seniors who are going to graduate, we don't get the chance to do what we've been doing the whole year, possibly ever again. So that's a little bit difficult to understand.
That's Gio. Oh my gosh, Gio, you want to make me cry. Thank you for joining us, Gio. I'm good, and when I see you, I'll automatically cry.
Giovanni, you have an interesting story. Miss Nazarene shared a little bit. You're joining us from Sicily, correct?
Yes, right now I'm in Italy. Yes, I had to come back because my exchange program had to end. So I had to come back, and they kind of forced me.
What does school look like for you right now?
So right now I'm just doing online school still for Vandergrift. I'm not leaving that school, and I still want to continue doing it, and I want to finish that year. But I'm gonna have to, at the end of the year, catch up with some stuff from my Italian school because I need to close end the year also here in Italy. Because if I don't, I just fail this year, and then I'm just gonna probably do the next year in Italy, or I'm even trying to get back there, but it's hard.
For those who aren't familiar with the concept, what is mindfulness?
Mindfulness is staying in the present moment, not focusing about anything, like not being stressed out or not worrying about what you're going to have for lunch or what you're going to do for the rest of the day. You're just focusing on the present moment and staying calm.
Thinking too much about the outcome can leave you to fall short of your goals. When you focus too much on things you can't see, it blurs your vision. But if you focus on what you can see, then, our graduating class is 2020, so 2020 vision.
Yes, sir. And even when we like things, sometimes we have to kind of grind through the hard part, right?
Sometimes you just have to grind through like a hard piece of cheese. Yeah, you have to grind through it as hard as you